Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's another episode of Venture Maidens. Oh my gosh, episode 59. 59. And also the end of the summer arc. This is going to be the last episode of this season, you guys. Wow. Big things. We've worked hard to get here. You guys have worked so hard. Hex crawling like fools, making deals, brokering favors. She said the name. Good stuff. I'm very excited. So hey everybody, welcome. This is the Venture Maidens. We're a D&D 5th edition 2014 slash Tales of the Valiant actual play live stream and podcast. This is a very adult themed show in general. We just keep some content warnings up just for like graphic body horror, just because of, you know, fantasy violence descriptions. I don't anticipate any other content warnings for today, but you never know. So go ahead and make sure if you're watching now, check the chat to see any content warnings coming up or the show notes for this episode. Other than that, let's do it. We've got a lot to do today, and I'm very excited. So let's dive in. Hey, everybody. My name is Celeste Konowich, and tonight I will be your game master.
Hello, my name is Katie, and I'm playing Luberry Sath, your drow wogue.
Hey, my name is Nasima Tamad. I'm playing your half-orc fighter, Tony Silvertail, and baby budding druid.
Debbie.
And I'm Sage, and today I will be your silly satyr bard, Aoife Flannery.
Oh, silly. I like it. Mixing it up so you can do the S's now. I was wondering how many more B words you could come up with.
We finally ran out.
We've reached the bottom of the barrel. Oh, no. Yes. So I figure since, you know, we've worked so hard to get here to this point, we'll go ahead and do an episode recap just of what happened last time, but then we'll also do sort of a brief, like, arc recap, like why we're here, remind ourselves, because we're about to walk into a very big conversation with, finally, one of the sovereign court leaders of the Fey courts. You have never talked to any of these people directly at this point, so this is going to be big. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with just like what happened last time. We have to search back in our memory banks since last recording was the legacy episode. So who wants to tell me what happened? That big ol' nasty fight, huh? What happened, kids?
Yeah, it was after we had parlayed with the Rose Dragon, who lived in her wonderful tower, and we had gotten to have a conversation with her and present her a fabulous enough gift to earn her attention. And so we had made the plan for her to help us with the final confrontation with the other 3 knights who remained. And so pretty much from there, we set off, and we had her fly in as a distraction while the other 3 or 4, 5 of us came in from the
NPCs
south side.
Left and right, yeah.
Well, the 5 of us came from the south side after she had sprayed just venom over them that made them vulnerable to all damage. We wanted to try and take out the Purple Knight first, but things started to get squirrely pretty much right off the bat, because after they had been the breath weapon was unleashed on them, the Purple Knight reached out to each of us telepathically, but only Aoife accepted the message, and we spoke sort of in a visual, almost kind of dream feeling together, where the Purple Knight said, like, look, we don't want to kill you, but if you try to get in our way, we have no choice but to kill you. This is so much bigger than any single one of us, and we have to see this mission through. And so Aoife was like, well, I mean, same, brother, I guess.
Hey, I mean, I'm just a protagonist staring at an antagonist, wondering.
I'm just a girl, little old me. And so it's like, well, I mean, we don't want to kill you either, but I mean, if you are really truly compelled to take this to the death, then we are too. So we had a harrowing battle, and after we had gotten our surprise round, the Purple Knight started summoning some eldritch horror from the planes beyond, and it was very clear that if we do not stop them from summoning this, it was going to be game over for all of us. So we had to take them down within 3 rounds, and we managed to do so.
Hell yeah, you did. And then what happened? What did you find? On the body, anyone?
Well, we found the rest of the blossoms, and we found a sword, a fey killing sword that was powerful enough to kill even a sovereign with a single fell swoop that was wrapped in a cloth of just of anti-magic. And so we got the sense that they were trying to meet with the sovereign in order to murder her, to assassinate her.
So that was the whole point of what they were doing here, ultimately. And then Lou, also, we learned something too about the Green Knight, huh? We got some confirmations.
Yeah, Lou was trying to get all the bags off of all the knights to see who had the blossoms, and she pulled the bag from the Green Knight, and she found a picture of herself. And so it confirmed what she'd felt was true, at least to her. It confirmed when we were in the fog earlier, when we were in the swamp section, that the Green Knight was in fact Jada.
Yup. Yeah, so, good, yeah. And then at the end, you had gotten the blossoms, and I think at the very last moment we had felt ourselves that familiar teleporty feeling, as like you were being taken somewhere else, finally having defeated the challenge, you were being beamed out of this arena, hopefully to exactly where you're expecting to go, which is this conversation with the Blossom Sovereign, with the Green Lady that you have been fighting for this opportunity since you arrived here at the court. Yes, good recap of last time. So we are indeed about to teleport Boop into this conversation, and most of this episode will be, talking to the Blossom Sovereign, coming to do, what you set out to do. Your very first time interacting with one of these almost mythical Fae leaders. So I want to take some time, kind of recap, remind ourselves what we're doing here, and if you could, decide together what the goals, I guess, of this conversation are, what you're hoping to get. I think that would be helpful for you all and the audience at this point. So fire away, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to start the talks to get the Blossom Court to side with the Tsarina against Hecate, as like a first step towards gaining forces of the Fae, of the different courts against her. We had our gift to give her as well, to try to sweeten the pot.
Yeah, Ravain has brought some gifts from the Tsarina, and then I think that was what he said. I was like, don't worry, like, guys, Tsarina hooked it up, so you guys don't have to necessarily, yourself give her a gift if you want. But
but we had presented her the one of the blossoms that we didn't sell from the Hanging Gardens of Tethys.
Oh, yes. Okay, good. Hell yeah.
That was what got us into the party.
Right. Yes. Da-da-da. Yeah. Uh-huh. And what else? Is that the only goal? It's a pretty good one.
Trying to remember. It's
been
so long.
Yeah, I think just something kind of helping to keep in mind is the fact that, basically at this point, the Fae and the mortals have had pretty much no conversation with each other at all, other than, like, killing each other. So this is sort of an interesting moment, just like the Tsarina was like, I had no idea there were sovereign courts or anything or any kind of organization, I think it's probably good to remember that also on that same side, the sovereign courts probably know very little about the mortals or their agenda or their like politics. So that's something just helpful, I think, to keep in mind. The tsarina had some promises for you that kind of like stirring this. So Sage, from your notes, just coming up. So send an emissary from the Eldrin Empire, obviously, to open talks with the Blossom Sovereign. So that's all of you. And then also Ravane is like her official representative. So speaking for the tsarina, making those decisions. So also if there's any kind of contracts or anything, you know, going forward to negotiate something, he's the guy. He's the one holding the bag. 2 was establish a ceasefire between the Eldrin Empire and the Fae of the Blossom Court. Is one of those things that the tsarina was interested in doing. So it would probably behoove you all to communicate that that's one of the things, like, your people don't attack our people, and is that cool? Yeah, those were like 2 big points as well. And then also, as a group, you should probably decide what you might want to tell her about, I don't know, Hecate or the sword or the knights, if you want to tell her any of that.
Yeah. So go ahead, Nassim.
I think it's a good idea. We could say that, I don't know how, that's on your charisma to figure out how we say we want to keep this sword. But I think it's a smart idea to say, you know, we uncovered their real reason for being here, and that just goes to show how close they are to getting what they want if we don't do something about it.
Yeah. So from Aoife's perspective, since Hecate really hasn't done anything personal to Aoife, unlike Lou and Tony, Aoife's, part of Aoife's motivation initially for asking for this introduction to the Blossom Sovereign was in response to us learning that Hecate had probably allied with the Withering Court because she's dealing with undead.
The Slithering Court, or the Withered Court. Which one?
The Withered Court. Okay, sorry, Withered Court.
Okay.
But if they had a baby.
But if they had a baby, it might be the Slithering Court. No.
So she had maybe allied with the Withered Court because we are seeing Jada, manifested as this undead creature, which is very much out of the realm of the Heavenly Court's sort of domain and powers. So that led Aoife to believe that, she's probably brokering alliances with other Fae courts and other just Fae or other factions in general in order to consolidate and amass power. For what purpose? Unknown. General evil.
Yeah. We did. I totally forgot. We also, right when we came in, we bumped into the Forest Court?
Yeah, the Forest Court.
Which they don't freaking like each other, so trying to convince them that maybe, even if you don't like each other, there's something worse than...
mutual, too. Yeah.
So yeah, we had gotten an invitation from them to be like, all right, come to our realm. Okay, if you think you're hot shit.
So that's a good thing to remember. That could be a bargaining chip in your back pocket. Good thing to remember. Yes. And
so so Aoife definitely wanted to, get this favor to talk to the Blossom Sovereign to be like, look, something big is happening that's bigger than all of the petty disputes between the Fae courts. And that was we all agreed that the Blossom Sovereign's or the Blossom Court in general is probably the most approachable. And since they are not quick to act, that if they did take an action or take a side, that it would be very noticeable to the other courts. So that might get other people on our side much more quickly. But to bring this to her attention and be like, look, something is brewing and we need to figure out what that is and what we can do about it.
Yep. Cool. Anything else we want to make sure we touch on or share or remind each other of before we walk into this?
Don't forget to bogue.
Love it.
Who
I
is
love it.
holding the sword right now? Did we just decide to hide it?
I think, yeah, hiding it in the bag of holding that Lou has.
I don't think that we hid it because they were watching us the entire time,
Presumably.
like a TV show. So I think that we did put it in the bag of holding, but just to put it away. And then the plan was to just fully be like, hey, this is the sword, but we do want it because this is what's going on and we need to take down our enemies together, sort of thing.
Right. Okay, cool.
All right. So yeah, we want to be open. All right. So we want to be like, hey, please let us keep the sword.
Yeah.
Please, please, please,
Listen.
please.
Shit is gonna, if we're doing this, shit is gonna be after us too. So
We didn't come all this way just to get fucking shanked
Yeah.
by someone else. We need to be able to protect ourselves.
Listen,
We vow not to use it against any members of the Blossom Court unless it is in self-defense. Yes, please and thank you.
We can make a promise, a fey promise that we would not use this sword specifically against them.
Probably also good to remind people you brokered some favors, last time with the Rose Dragon. You want to remind of those because you could potentially have those favors called in on you in this conversation.
Yeah, we did. We brokered one in order to get Rose's help for a small favor, a big favor, but it was only the restriction was that it could not be asked for us to do harm against any mortal creature. And then Aoife owes a small favor to Rose because she's like, please take Bud under your wing. He's such a helpless little perfect little guy. And we promised him that we would help him get him a lair. So like,
wants a house. Like,
this kind of satisfies that, right?
Help out the next generation.
Yeah,
you know?
like hate to leave a dude hanging, you know?
Yeah. So it's good to keep in mind you're walking into this conversation with a big favor owed to Her Majesty.
Right. Another one.
Another one.
It's the name of the campaign.
And then Aoife likely owes a small favor to the Sleeping Court Sovereign because she's like, hey, can I say that you totally approve of this plan as a bargaining chip? And it was like, ugh, fine.
Yeah.
I guess.
There is also that additional hurdle, now that everyone knows that Aoife is actually a member of another court, so that could potentially create some problems.
It's okay. She likes Aoife. She was helping her out the whole
with her
time.
little roots, killing that red
Little
dude,
root.
that dick bag. Yeah, it's all good. Okay, cool. Anything else?
Hey, Ravane, what'd you do wrong?
What did you do? He forgot. He can't remember. He's like,
Oh, really?
sorry,
I
I can tell you.
His
I know.
memory's been Men in
I
Black.
know what you did.
You just wanted the fan fiction. I know. Maybe one day I'll send it to you special randomly on Patreon. It'll pop up and be like, what? Okay, cool. Let's do it. Let's talk to a fairy queen. Also, Blossom Sovereign and the Green Lady are both her titles interchangeably. I'll probably just to reduce confusion. They don't have names. They only have titles once you become a Sovereign Fae, because no one should have power over you, well, except your people. Cool. All right. So we're picking up right at the end where we were last time, after a harrowing and very scary fight with these knights at the center of this arena that you had been fighting for literal days through, facing all of its challenges. You managed to collect Ravane, save him from a stony eternity as a garden ornament. You had managed to work with a dragon to help you in this fight. You had every advantage walking in, and still it was a tough fight, and I think all of you are probably feeling bruised and shaken, but you do it. You stopped whatever was happening, whatever that horrible thing that Purple Knight was summoning. You put an end to that, you had recovered the sword, you had gotten the blossoms, and it had all happened very quickly in those last few moments. But as you picked up those final flowers, you had felt yourselves, like, that effervescent feeling of your body sort of, like, being transported as all of you, the particles of what you are come apart, and you feel all of that weariness and that pain and that stress and the anxiety in that moment sort of evaporate as you do. And there's this profound feeling of light and warmth, like, the warmth of a sunny day baking the earth. And then, like, this feeling of the rain, the refreshing mist that comes right from morning dew. And for a moment, I think all of you kind of lose your mortal selves as you transition, and there's this, like, beautiful sigh feeling this moment. And as each of you wake up and kind of return to yourselves, you're not so surprised by that feeling, because you are in a place of profound beauty as you land gently on just lush, soft green grass, so soft, it could be a carpet, and look around you and find yourselves on sort of a hilltop, like a hilltop space that's been flattened up here, and you can see, like, stone ruins, sort of like in a Grecian style of something, like, where there were arches or some kind of structured garden that has now been left to nature and just, like, grown over and beautiful, and the sky above you is just gorgeous blue. The temperature is perfect. The breeze, everything around you as you're just looking at all of these vibrant plants drifting up and around you that have reclaimed this space. And as you look off to the side, from your vantage point, it's just miles and miles of these golden, like, beautiful flowers in fields, just endless. And the smell of this place, it's ethereal. It's like nothing on earth. The peace, the quiet, the certainty that there are no people here. This is a place where plants and nature rule supreme. It's very comforting. And as another of these, like, golden, breezes kind of passes you by, you take in more details of what's in front of you. You see that there are, like, these stone benches arranged around, like, a fountain that has long since dried, but is now filled with just hundreds of different flowers of every color and shape, filling it up like water in a bowl, just growing, like, naturally out of the top. And sitting on one of these benches is a woman that you've seen now several times before. The Green Lady. You see her pale green skin, just, like, so beautiful. It's almost painful to look at her directly. Just the femininity and the gorgeousness. And you see her green hair is actually just vines that have, like, twisted with flowers in front of her. And as she stands in a dress of, like, woven golden grass, she looks at you and she smiles, and it just fills your heart like the sun choosing you as it beams down into the very, the darkest pits of your soul, and you forget everything about the stress and where you were, because standing here is just, wow. She looks at you and smiles.
Lou just, like, immediately curtsies. She's just, like, never been more sure that she's a lesbian.
Yeah, in this moment, just beautiful green woman.
Yeah, and she just stays that way until addressed otherwise.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, Ravain similarly does a very formal, the most courtly and perfect bow you've ever seen.
Pony is kind of like awestruck for a moment, like, what is that? But then seeing everyone else bow down, like, tries to do the same thing, but is also like, what is sexuality? What is my sexuality?
That's a woman.
There is only beauty.
There's only beauty.
Yeah, and I imagine the lot of us, after we're battle worn and tired and scuffed up, and Aoife will also curtsy formally.
We're not even wearing dresses. We're just like straight up in pants looking like shit. And we're
Yeah, like
curtsing.
torn up and like, blood splattered from
Fucked
fighting and mud from days of
We're
crawling
trying.
around. And as you all, Rook will, I guess, try to stumble over herself and try to bow, and then shuffle towards the back of the group. And this woman, this figure, she rises from her, seat, and as she does, you hear like the sound of tinkling bells. The whisper of grasses, like, in the wind, as she moves towards you, and she doesn't make any other sound, which it's very odd. And you realize, too, she's very tall, like, when she gets to you, maybe 7-8 feet or so, as she takes a few steps towards you. Welcome. You have fought hard to be here, champions. Let me offer you some comfort. And she, like, extends a hand outwards, and all of you suddenly feel much better. You can feel your wounds, like, knitting together, and the mud going from your body, and the exhaustion leave your bones, as you are in her place. You get the full benefits of, like, a heal, greater restoration, everything is back, everything with you, all your powers restored, like you just had 3 glorious days of rest.
Wow.
So, you have fought hard to get here. You have faced my challenges. And you have played the game well. I'm looking forward to our conversation. For surely, you must have something very important to tell me if you've survived all of this.
Khalifa. Blue kicks her in the butt forward.
Yes, Sovereign, it is the greatest honor to meet with you and to be in your glorious presence. We do bear news of ill tidings, and we are eager to discuss many matters with you.
And as you say, like, ill tidings, you notice that the living plants that, like, weave around her body and her hair sort of take on, like, a blood red hue, almost. But it's, like, changing by the moment. It's like her moods are just, like, the plant life is changing. Blossoms, like, bloom and buds just change or drop off. It's hard not to just focus on that as you're talking to her. So much, like, living movement happening, and she bows her graceful chin and yes, says please, and indicates sort of like one of these pavilion style things where there are chairs and tables, and take a seat. You have certainly earned your rest. It is unusual to be speaking to mortals, I must admit. I find you very strange. So unlike plants, and so unlike fae. I don't think I've actually ever had a conversation with a mortal, to be frank.
Well, to be the first is incredibly exciting. I am Morphia, and these are my companions, Franny and
We got a new name.
Marnie.
Okay, Morphia. Cool. All right. A pleasure.
Don't forget Captain Savage.
Oh yes, and Captain Savage. He's like, wait, what? Oh, yes, and Captain Savage. And he sort of blushes as he says that, and she laughs.
Evil looks at Rook and is like, and Bishop.
Rook makes a face at you and says, and Bishop. She didn't have a better idea anyway. And she laughs, and the sound is like rainbows petting your skin as she does so. Very odd and magical sensation. You may call me the Green Lady. It is a title I have borne for a long while now, I suppose according to your mortal standards. Though, before we continue, I should perhaps address not all of you are quite mortal. Please send the sleeping dragon my regards. And, nods her head to you, Aoife. Is this conversation sanctioned, I'm assuming?
Yes, and I do apologize for the deception, but you will find that our antagonists also implied such deception as they were emissaries of the Heavenly Court. But yes, I do indeed have the recognition of the sleeping dragon that I am here today and that he backs what we are presenting.
Very interesting. It has been a long, long time since the sleeping dragon has made any move or conversed with any of us. I can't even think in the living memory of any of the courts when his emissary deigned to visit us.
Indeed, things are stirring across the realms.
Well, yes, then the discussion shall begin. But of course, do you need anything? Are you hungry?
Would it be rude to say no? I think Aoife wants to do maybe an insight to be like,
what is the procedure here?
What is appropriate?
And is this a favor?
Yeah, is this a favor? Yeah, is she offering you something? What is this? Go ahead and make me an insight check. Okay, here, I'll give you two options. One would be an insight check. The other would be some kind of knowledge-based check based on, I guess Arcana would be the closest. Like, what do you know about the Fae? The insight check will be harder because she's going to be harder to read, but it might give you a better specific read on the situation. The Arcana check will be lower, but it will tell you some general wisdom.
All right, I will do insight.
All right.
All right. Gosh. Oh, do I want to use that?
First roll. Do you want to burn it?
All right. Well, no. All right. So it's just a 14.
Well, you know that Fae often offer things to trap people into favors or situations. That could be what this is. But, I mean, you are in her realm, and, there is so much worse she could have done to you by this point. It's really hard to say. You've never had to deal with this with the Sovereign, and her face is implacable. As you look at her, and try to get a read, you just look into her eyes, and you see a nascent, primordial forest just sprout before you, and you're watching the trees and the growth, and you realize you've suddenly become completely overcome with what you were thinking about. So it's
Luke
your mind goes blank. Yeah. So the insight is fails as you're just
See,
oh
if
God.
Go kind of blank. Tony will probably step in and say, that's very generous and kind of you. Thank you. But I think we have some important matters to discuss first. So maybe we can save the meals for later.
You are wise. A pleasant change of pace. Not what I've heard about mortals. You seem to have done well, Tony. That was a trap, for sure.
Great.
Mm-hmm. And she will say, freely given, however, with no expectation in return. She waves her hands, and like a cordial, like a beautiful crystal, like cordial container, like appears in glasses on the table. And if you all would like to partake, it's the sweetest and most gorgeous like nectar you've ever consumed. It's just more refreshing the more you drink. It's incredible. So you can have drinks freely given, no trap.
Delightful.
Won't turn down a free drink.
I have to say, having creatures here, it's a lovely change of pace. It does get a little lonely up on my hill. So few survive my trials to make it here. But you have stuck it through, done everything I asked, and excelled, despite all odds. You are truly remarkable. Would you say you are representative of your kind? Or are you extraordinary?
Well, as much as I'd love to claim the title of extraordinary, I do think that there are many mortals, such as us. I've seen them in battles on my own that also display such exemplary bravery and determination when the fight is one worth fighting for.
So you would say the mark of an extraordinary mortal is primarily shown through combat? Would you consider yourselves to be a warlike species?
I think that there are many battles that are won before anybody even hits a battlefield. Through cunning conversation, you can get what you want. I know plenty like that myself.
Yes. I can tell this one is a fighter. And she looks at Tony. As are you, dear captain. But what are you? And she looks at Lou with genuine, like, open, like, as big as that question seems, she really wants to know. What are you? Why are you special? What is your brand of mortalness?
I come from a group of people who generally, not unlike yourself, trade in favors behind the scenes and try to avoid combat if they can. But if it comes to it, we're not afraid to take care of business quickly.
Interesting. And you? What would possess a mortal to become a member of the sleeping court, yet still be immortal? I watched how you changed, and it's puzzling. Perhaps you are more puzzling than all the rest here. What are you? Why are you?
I freely admit that I'm caught between two worlds now. And I know there will come a time when I must choose which world I will walk in permanently. But in the meantime, I like to think of myself as something of a bridge, able to connect two places, two peoples.
I see. And you are one of these caught in between worlds, as is your friend here, yes? You're not quite sure what you are either. And she says, and Rook is just like, ugh, as the lady's looking at her. Well, you are currently walking in my world. So, what are your intentions with it? To build bridges, to choose a new one, or to advocate for your own? And there's a sort of a frosty, like, sheen that, like, goes on all the flowers, you know, on her body, like that first permafrost of winter.
Well, we've come today primarily in order to see about establishing a formal alliance with the Blossom Court between the Eldrin Empire of the mortal realm and yourself. We have spoken with the sovereign of our empire, and she has agreed that although the conflict between Fae and mortal is the highest it's perhaps ever been, that the soldiers of the Empire will not strike members of the Blossom Court. Because we wish to find a way to lessen the conflict, to maybe live more harmoniously with other kinds of people.
So, you are not only a member of the Sleeping Court, you have a second sovereign in this mortal realm. You have two masters. She's pointing that at you, Aoife.
Yes, I suppose so. While walking the mortal realm, I am bound to the will of and to the rule of law as established by the tsarina.
I see. And this sovereign thinks that I and my kind need protection from them. What makes this sovereign think that we are so weak and incapable as to need the help of a mortal? Perhaps you, soldier, tell me. And she looks at you, Tony. Is your sovereign so strong, so arrogant to think this?
I don't think it's a matter of weakness and who can provide more power or protection. It's that they understand that we are stronger together. Being alone in any fight, we don't doubt that you can hold your own, but we know we're not strong enough to fight the evils that are coming our way by ourselves, and we could minimize the death, the bloodshed, the damage to come if we were to work together. And there's been enough fighting already between our two worlds. This could be a new way to coexist.
It is true that your kind historically has hunted my own, sought to cut us off from food, from resources, from whatever we may require, and some have even dared to trod into our realm and attack our people directly. This history is true and known. But you speak of evils to come, warning of something. What is this of which you speak? I see nothing but the status quo maintained.
Did you know anything of the fighters who were in that trial with us and their intentions of coming to see you?
I knew as much about them as I do about all of you, which is to say, very little. If I did spend my time getting to know the intricacies of every mortal that appeared at my door, or every creature, well, I wouldn't have time to take care of my own people, would I?
Well, I only ask because we discovered while we were competing for those lotuses that they had very ill intentions in coming to you. And had they gotten past those trials, I'm sorry to say, they would have tried to take your life. We found a weapon on them powerful enough to take the matters into their own hands on behalf of their leader, that we have come in contact with in the past and have come to discover their true intentions. And that's the whole reason why we're here. We didn't know these people were here coming to see you. We only discovered it in the trials, but it's a good thing we were here when we were, because I don't know who's to say what would have happened had they made it through.
Though to that point, there is one thing I know about these knights. They did not make a claim on my attention or approach me until after all of you did. So, you, cunning one, and she looks at you, Lou, looking at this plan objectively, in a way that is, I don't know, intelligence-focused, wouldn't you say that in some way perhaps you were responsible for bringing these people here and introducing this threat to me?
Is it the responsibility of anyone with power when others covet it? All we can do is take down those who came and saw what we were about to do, about to make contact, about to do something that hasn't been done before. And we were strong enough, at least they believed, and I believe, that they thought we would be successful. And so they wished to stop us.
Interesting. And you said before, you believe this person, this leader, she who seeks my death, to be Hecate, leader of the Heavenly Court.
Aye.
We do.
The courts have existed for a long time, longer than I think your mortal minds can truly comprehend, and it is just absurd to think that all of a sudden, here and now, we would start attacking one another. Why? It doesn't make any sense. We have our domains, and they are split just fine. So why is it that all of a sudden, when these mortals like you start getting involved, things would change? It all seems a little hard to believe.
Hecate acquired a book called the Enigma Codex, and she performed a ritual, which we know not the purpose of, but if you're familiar with this book, it contains all written knowledge that exists.
I thought that book was long lost, one of the Archfey. I disposed of it.
You disposed of it. Please tell us what you can of this.
No, I went to one of the Archfey. We are not sovereigns, are a far different class of Fey than the Archfey. They are chaotic and unpredictable, destructive. Actually, a little bit like mortals in their reputation, to be quite honest. Sovereigns are something else. We are the evolution of many people, many Fae, that believe in us. We only come to power by the will of our people, and that is where we draw our strength. I am nothing but a representative of all the Fae within this domain. Archfey, on the other hand, are strange, chaotic forces born into this world, with their own bidding, and being around them is dangerous, and I'm sure I had heard that one of them had taken this codex and disposed of it. Hearing that it exists now is, quite frankly, startling.
Oh, out of character, I heard you say, I dispose of this.
Oh, no. She had heard one of the Archfey had disposed of it.
Okay.
Yeah, the Sovereigns, sort of like the Archfey, are kind of like celebrities, I guess, like in the Fae realms, because they all have their own shit going on. They can't really be part of the courts because they just happen to, like, things blow up around them, right? So Sovereign Fae are a little bit different in their I guess they're like, like the Fae's most wanted or the most like infamous, like they operate outside all the rules. So that's what Penny was. One of the Archfey.
Yeah. No, I misheard. So yeah, Aoife would ask that. But we've seen evidence of Hecate potentially making alliances with the Withered Court because one of the knights that was here participating in the trial, was undead, and that would not be within her powers alone to achieve this. And so that is why we are here, in order to see if you are interested in allying with the Eldrin Empire, and to also potentially use any means that you have in order to help us understand what Hecate's end goal is.
I see. So you suspect a war is coming between the sovereign courts?
That is my guess.
Really between Hecate and whoever opposes her.
This is, again, hard to believe. For so long we have all coexisted. Have you spoken to any other courts, or are you asking us, the Blossom Court, to stand against unknown numbers of these sovereign courts? I have never met your mortal sovereign. I do not know what a protection she can truly afford. To wage war against the Heavenly Court, or numerous others, it is a great deal you are asking me to do.
We believe that the other courts that have not yet been picked up by Hecate for whatever nefarious end goal she has in mind, we would like to start with you all here because we know that you are all known to not be hasty. So if you join the cause and others see that, we think that we can have more join us to hopefully, in tandem with our empire, build something that can be a force that takes her down.
Why doesn't somebody go ahead and make me a persuasion check at this point? Aoife, can be you, with advantage from, both Tony and Lou's arguments so far. See where we're at.
27.
Okay, Sage, I gotta say, you have this face that you do, and it's the same face for horrible as it is for
yeah,
amazing,
for 1 as for 20,
it
so it's
scares
like
me every fucking time.
Happy to keep you in suspense.
My butthole is clenched, my friend.
And she, the frost sort of fades from the flowers on this lady, and they all turn like white, and all of a sudden you're just like completely, all the green and brown sort of fades from her, and you're just staring at this white, like almost bleached out bouquet in front of you. I think it is indeed valiant that you have come here to try and open communications between your sovereign and my people. I think from this short conversation even, I have learned that mortals are quite a bit more interesting than I initially assumed. So perhaps it is time we know one another a little better. But this talk of war, this talk of animosity. This seems like more of what my people have come to fear about your kind. You are hasty, you are rash, you are aggressive, and everything you touch burns. Nature dies, is destroyed, and must fight once again to reclaim the earth. No one's directly after us. So why should we not just wait for you all to kill one another and inherit the earth, as we have waited to do since time immemorial?
What kind of world would you be left with if you let all that destruction take place in order to gain it?
Hopefully one that is still fertile soil and rolling hills, land, and green, without the messiness of animals, mortals, or anything else. And she goes back to her full bloom, like nature surrounding you, like all over the place. More vines kind of shoot down from her hair. So as a tact, yeah, maybe dig into that a little bit. This is one of the things about the Blossom Court. They're like, well, if you're all dead, nature will come back in eventually.
I think that it's difficult to say exactly what would happen. What we do know from what those knights were carrying is that if you, at any point, now or later, were to try and put up a fight against whatever she has in mind, she's going to try to get rid of you in a way that you can't grow back from.
She cocks her head at this, like, what? Like, it didn't even... What?
And I think that if that comes, if you don't plan on following whatever path she decides, it will be best that you have people on your side to stand at your back.
With the power of knowledge she now possesses, she can shape the world to however she sees fit. There's no guarantee that you'll get the future you wish will come without mortal existence.
And she like very suddenly stands up from the table, which is like kind of a freaky gesture, how fast and how quietly and elegantly she does it, and sort of turns her back away from all of you and strides like a few steps, to look down over that hilltop, right, and see just all of these fields below her, all of these like endless golden, blossoms there. And the sky darkens as like clouds roll in, and you see these fields begin to wither before your eyes all around her as she looks, keeping her back away from you.
In the mortal realm, nature does not exist in a vacuum. In order for plants, fungus, everything green to live, it requires the cooperation of everything else. It requires bees and bats and butterflies to pollinate so that blossoms may grow and flourish. It requires animals to eat the fruit of the plants and pass on the seeds to create fertile soil. And when populations of animals grow too much, mortals must thin the herds and must boost the aid of the predators in order to maintain a balance. Here in your realm, you have perfect sovereignty and command. But what we know of Hecate is that she has been able to pierce the sovereign realms themselves. And we should very much like to be a part of that nature to help maintain the harmony that has lasted between the courts for so long.
It sounds like a very scary world you come from if your sovereign cannot maintain the natural balance. And you really think Hecate would destroy that entirely? For her own gain? Just devastate a world? And she turns back to you, and she seems very small now as she's doing this, almost like a child. It was like looking at you all with these like big, round, sort of fearful eyes.
It's almost like Hecate has become more mortal. And I don't know if it's the exposure to the book of seeing so far past the horizon that she's accustomed to, but she has learned ambition, just as Tony has learned in her trial that Fae do not know regret,
Yes.
as she communicated to you.
That is... The Heavenly Court has always been, quite frankly, a little beyond the understanding of my people. Why look to the future or try to manipulate what is happening when you don't have regret? I've never understood it. Perhaps that is why it is time to build this bridge with all of you. I am surprised to admit I think your perspective is quite remarkable on all of this. Perhaps even I have something to learn from you. Again, like this never occurred to her in 1,000 years. So then, what precisely are you asking me to do here and today? What are you asking me to swear to? What promises do you seek? And I'll let you guys talk about that a little bit if you want between yourselves. Yeah. But basically, we're getting to the, like the letter of the Fae contract here. You know, we've been talking nice and bouncing things around, but like, what are you trying to bind the sovereign into here? I'll refill my drink, and if you want to talk about that.
Okay. Paige, you so kindly outlined that for us already, so I think we can just take some turns reading that off, because I also want to refill my cup, but I'm listening if there's more discussion happening.
Okay. Why did I just call her Hawkeye instead of Hecate? Whatever Hecate is pointing at. Yeah.
Jeremy Renner pops in wearing a dress.
Bless him. Looking stunning and dangerous. Yeah, I mean, I think what you have looks good. Who's left? So we have the Slithering Court and the Withered Court.
Withered Court, yeah.
So then we have left the Forest Court and the Sleeping Court. Are there any other ones that I'm missing?
There's the Court of the Winds, which, yeah, the Court of the Winds. There is the...
I'm pulling up the campaign.
Yeah, I was trying to recall off the top of my head. I was like, we just hit a roadblock.
Yep. Court. Okay. There's Blossom Court, Court of the Winds, Forest Court. Yeah, those are the ones that are left. Because the rest are heavenly, sleeping, slithering, and withered. So you're representing sleeping. So we can get Forest Court and Court of the Winds to join the cause. And hopefully they'll be willing to. But already Blossom and Forest fucking hate each other. So
Yeah.
I almost wonder if it'd be better to do the Winds Court before the Forest Court. I don't know if they have a better relationship or not.
Mm.
You could ask her too. It seems like you guys have maneuvered into a pretty good position. I'll say you've done pretty well, all of you. So if there are just like more clarifying questions or anything you want to ask, I have some information that I think you all have earned. If you have some quick fire questions you want to ask too.
Yeah, I mean, we were just thinking about what courts were left that Hecate hadn't already gotten to. And we were talking about what the relationship between the Court of the Winds and the Forest Court was instead of the Blossom Court or the Forest Court, because we know they don't like each other.
Yeah.
So if she has pull with the Court of the Winds, it might be better to do that next if they have a good relationship with the Forest Court.
Yeah. So she'll and if you want to answer candidly, like what do you think about the other courts, or like who do you think might be working with Hecate? She could certainly share her in like 1,000-yard view.
Where do we go next?
Yeah. So very quickly, so she'll communicate a few things to you. So the courts that she has probably the most pull with actually right now are, as you said, the Court of the Winds, because they have no beef. They get along well. The wind, the air, and the sky and the ground, they're cool. Like, they've never had a problem. So she could get you an in with them easily. She also will express that the Withered Court, she was very surprised to hear that you think they might be allied with Hecate, because the undead actually really aren't their thing so much as, like, the undying, right? Like, they are the eternal. They are, like, the crypt keepers, and, like, they're all about the sanctity around death and the traditions and that finality. So undead, in a lot of instances, are actually kind of an affront to them. In fact, she would say, if anyone would probably have any power, like, to stop Hecate from making undead, or to perhaps, I don't know, reverse undeath or something, the Withered Court are the people you want to talk to. Them and their king. Their king.
Was that the king that we spoke to?
The King of Scene?
The King Unseen? Yes, that is one of his titles.
Damn! He was cool!
So,
when did we talk to him?
In your trial, girl!
Oh.
Wait, no, that wasn't the King Unseen. No. The sovereign of the Withered Court, one of his names is the King Unseen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the tip that we got from the mayor's warning about Jada.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Aoife will make eyes at Rook, be like, "You're a part of a court? You didn't say anything?"
What? Wait, what?
She had said that she... Oh, because we got a name of...
the Earl King is a different guy.
Oh, okay. So
a lot of kings,
Cassie...
queens.
Anyone can be a king or queen these days.
Cassie had said in her research the King Unseen might be the Earl King. So, okay.
But you just got confirmation now from the Blossom Sovereign that was not true. Cassie was just, like, trying to help.
She's doing her best.
Yeah. And if you, I don't know, do you want to say the Earl King? Mention that in front of the Sovereign? You've got a pretty good fountain of information here if you want.
Yeah, that would certainly be something we'd ask about, since we're...
The Earl King, slash the Lord of the Hunt, right? Slash Rook's dad is an archfey who has close ties to the Forest Court, but operates outside of the Forest Court. And the King Unseen is sort of like, she's called the Green Lady. The King Unseen is the name for the Withered Court Sovereign.
So you think there's a chance we can go see them and try to persuade them to join?
If there is any of the courts that value tradition and sanctity as much as we do, it is the Withered Court. And she seems to, they have a very positive relationship, it seems. They both enjoy things like protocol and, you know, the way things are. And, you know, while she's about, like, the plants and life, and then they're about death and, you know, winter, and that's fine. That they get it, the balance, so they get along really well. So the Withered Court and the Court of the Winds are probably the two strongest, like, friendship, you know, courts to approach. Yes, as you've sussed out the Forest Court and the Blossom Court, it's not that they... I think the Forest Court has stronger feelings against the Blossom Court than the Blossom Court does against the Forest Court. Because the Blossom Court is just like, hey man, we're just here doing our thing. And the Forest Court is like, why aren't you doing anything? Take action. Stop, like, smelling the daisies, literally, instead of doing literally anything. So that's them. But so she wouldn't be, like... She would also communicate, she can't fathom that the Forest Court would, like, want to, you know, work with Hekate's agenda and, like, destroy things, because they are also about preserving the natural balance, just the messy, smelly, dirty claw side of things, where the Blossom Court is about protecting the pretty, lovely, you know, wonderful things. Yeah.
Well, this is all very fabulous information to have, and we're hoping that since you do seem to have a better connection with these other courts, that with our newfound partnership, one of the things you would help us with is participating in these discussions and talks with the other courts to garner more allies that can stand up against Hekate.
Again, it has been a long time since the sovereigns have moved against one another or allied with one another. It has simply never been done in the history of all the time we have existed. There has never been a need to. I suppose it is something we could try. But a meeting of the sovereigns, I'm not even sure how that would work physically. If we could even physically be in the same location. She's yeah, some of her flowers, like, sort of wilt and fall off like autumn leaves. So she's just, like, trying to process, like...
Is this something that perhaps we can do in a form of astral projection? Lou says very cool with her wizard
Yeah,
knowledge.
That was so cool, wizard knowledge. I suspect the best way to go about this would be perhaps to have one of our seconds or lieutenants meet physically on our behalf. With the way our domains work, our demesnes, I'm not entirely sure we could be together in the same place, but we could certainly, as you are doing now, send an emissary. Or perhaps I could give you all my signet, so you may speak on my behalf.
Well, that would be wonderful. We want to get an outline of, so there's no confusion on your values. I take speaking for you very seriously.
As you should. But, of course, you, and she looks at you, Aoife, you could not bear a fraction of my power. You are already spoken for in our realm. It would have to be one of you. So
well, obviously the druid.
Yeah, so essentially what she is saying is, hey, you want to be a member of my court?
Oh!
That's what she's saying. So
is that what that means?
Yep, imbuing one of you the same way Aoife has power with the sleeping court, one of you would become basically an initiate, at the lowest tier of the Blossom Court.
Vassal life.
Vassal life. Vassal it up.
That's scary.
It is scary.
So many people.
Also, one thing to consider, Tony, is what type of person you are based on their own values. You'll have to follow their dogmas.
I mean, why don't you do it then?
I'd say just ain't my choice. I'm good. I'm signed up.
Oh gosh.
So and I should make it clear, this is just one way you could do this. It would certainly make it easy, walking around being like, oh, clearly you speak for them, like you're part of it, right? Like that's probably the easiest and most direct way, but might, I guess, depending on your point of view, cost you the most personally. There are certainly other ways, like, if you want to go and negotiate. She's also said, having a meeting with one of the dukes, right? Like setting that up is an option. Or you can go and talk to them, or, but there are other options.
I don't want to offend her by saying no thanks,
I mean, I feel like for me, as Lou, I think that today we've done something groundbreaking by connecting a bridge. I feel honored to be immortal in your presence. And I think that it's something of beauty, which is something you all hold so dear, to have that new sort of hybrid that we've created just in meeting on the same playing field. I think if it were up to me, I would like to suggest potentially, if this would be amenable to you, somebody who we've already met and who I think we've formed a connection with. If this is something that we could rise them a little bit, and you all too, if we could have Princess Burgundy, she was somebody who I think exemplified the kind of person we would want to work with, and who also was a person who was out to take care of her own people. I think that she's the perfect median, and I would love to work with her.
Indeed, we received our invitation to attempt to meet with you from her and her father.
Mm-hmm. Yes, one of the dukes of my realm. Interesting. What were you, Nassim? You were having a moment. What were you, you thinking?
For a hot second, I was thinking you were gonna mention that little. What was the little? It wasn't. Not really a bandit, but that
Dandelion.
Oh, Dandelion!
The one true love.
For a second, I was like, is he going to come back into my life?
I thought he was a little too jaunty to be appealing to the sovereign that we're speaking to.
Someone with a little bit more status makes sense, but I got really excited.
But Sweet William, I mean, was pretty...
But I think out of character, I think Princess Burgundy was really cool and would be a good median.
She definitely had a level head that her father did not.
Did not have. She considers this and says, I suppose I could make another duke in my realm. Princess Burgundy has served me well, and apparently forged a connection with all of you. Interesting. I suppose that would be amenable. So then, in that case, if you were to go ahead and meet with these other courts, I think you would have to find your own way in, and I could certainly do my best to pave the way with those I'm friendly with. But once you're in, I would be willing to send Princess Burgundy to speak on my behalf.
I think that, unless you guys have a different opinion, I think that's a wonderful plan.
I think that sounds wonderful as well.
Plus, I know that we mortals, we really enjoy paying back what people have done for us, and she did help us to come and see you. So I think that if this is something that could help her further herself, that warms my heart to help in.
Hmm. Is this a common mortal thing, a sense of debt or obligation?
Well, as we owe a big favor to you, we intend, of course, to fulfill that promise.
I think that's something we can relate on, honestly.
To us, the exchanging of favors is simply business. It's very interesting to know there's an emotional component to it when mortals... Do you owe her a favor? Is that why you're doing this?
No, we don't. We helped her, but I found her to be a lovely person, and we tend to like to do things for people who we like.
Fascinating. Anyway, continue on. You're teaching her so much about mortals right now. She's like, why would you
say more
do
right now?
anything? What? This is so
I would
cute.
still like to push for the spies on our agenda.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gotten most of that. It seems like the question of the sword hasn't even come up, so
Yeah, I
we'll
was surprised that
probably
she
end
didn't
up
say
keeping it.
anything.
Yeah. So, but the spies.
Despise.
The spies. Let's see what she can do for us there.
Indeed, and with your relationship to the Withered Court, I would be curious if you would be able to learn anything from them, if any of the members of the Withered Court have perhaps developed some kind of relationship with Hecate. We would humbly ask that for the resources that you have available, of perhaps sending agents or spies or anything that you could find out about Hecate's agents and her plans, so that we have a better understanding of what exactly it is that we're up against, because as of right now, we don't know anything concrete, but we know that she does have the great capability for a great, terrible many things.
I think it's also safe to assume that she has her own spies, her own rats in the system, trying to gain as much information about who she can bring over to her side in her cause. So if we had some of our own, it might put us on somewhat of a level playing field.
So to clarify, because you said the Withered Court, do you mean send spies into the Heavenly Court? Or you still want to send spies into the Withered Court?
For her to use her connection to the Withered Court, maybe talking to the King Unseen, to be like, what news have you heard of your kingdom, of things that are going on?
Are there whispers of this Hecate?
So I think she'll be a little taken aback by that ask, because the protocol of that seems a little alarming. Somebody she considers to be an ally and a court that we want to court as an ally. It simply does not make any sense to send in spies. That seems such an aggressive move. If Hecate and the Heavenly Court are our enemies, I would be willing to, I suppose, send in spies there. But we cannot treat our allies like villains.
Don't think we wish to give that impression or treat them as such, view them in any hostility. I think we just want to know where she has gotten her grasp on.
I think perhaps if we send spies into the Heavenly Court, we can see if there's any sort of connection to the Withered Court. And then at that point, if we find out that something has happened to them, some kind of siege possibly, if this is not something that they're typically known for dealing with undead, at that point, it would be an act of camaraderie to go in and try to right any sort of wrong that's occurred.
Yes, I agree with that. I would be more comfortable establishing, one, open communications first with the Withered Court and bringing your case before them. I think the King Unseen is very reasonable, and if he knows what you have expressed to me, he himself might be able to provide more information without deception or trickery.
Can
I think that should be a last resort.
Just for me, it doesn't matter, but can I roll an insight check to see if they're fucking?
Yeah, sure. Just because I need to know. Yeah,
it was not that great. But
incredible.
I got a 12.
You're like, listen, this lady, they're so, like, there's got to be something going on. Lou is sitting there like, yeah.
She's writing fanfic in her head.
Yeah, like, you know, she said they can't be in the same place. She doesn't know how that would work, but, like, you know, who knows what sovereigns can do? Magic mind,
just
fucking,
longing
like,
through letters. I'm here for it.
Yeah, they just write so many letters. They've had a century-long love affair of just...
Oh my god, I kind of love
unrequited. It's very, like, Pride and Prejudice, Victorian
life
era.
And death, like...
We can't be together. My god, yeah.
Well, even if this isn't real, it's real to me.
Mm-hmm. No, in your insight check, you're like, oh, definitely.
Oh, for sure.
With that 12, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that I know obviously. This now.
Now we know. That's the important thing here. Yes. So again, another thing to keep in mind, as Lady has shown you, imagine like a chivalrous knight from a story, like an Arthurian knight, and like how annoying and fussy, but also so heroic that could be. That's sort of the whole deal with the Blossom Court. They have these grand trials, right? They put you through all these tests and stuff. So asking them to engage in something like dishonorable or whatever is always going to be a little tough.
I would love to know from her as well what she knows, like what kind of people, like she's been talking about the Withered Court, what are their other sovereigns like, and the people that we're trying to get on our side so that we can go in knowing what's important to them and how to best appeal to them.
Yeah, and she can say, you know, some of the courts she, like, her people just don't deal with. Like the Slytherin court, terrible. They're icky and gross, and she doesn't know who's in charge of it and doesn't care to know, and they don't talk to each other. And she'll be the first one to be like, I bet the Slytherin court is working with, you know, Heavenly Court, whatever, because they're evil and gross. So she has no idea. The Heavenly Court, she'll say, until recently, she didn't know who the sovereign was of that court. Hecate just recently actually declared herself openly as the sovereign of the court. Before that, they've always been kind of weird and mysterious and like not really on the other court's radar, which is the same deal with the Sleeping Court. Like the Sleeping Court, a lot of people just assumed it was dead or not. Like it was there so long ago, and the Sleeping Dragon doesn't talk to anyone, and they never really meet anyone from the Sleeping Court, so they were, like, not even part of the equation until now. So
we're not dead, we're just napping.
Yeah. So the Heavenly Court was sort of like the Sleeping Court, like, they're doing their own weird things in the background until just recently they've, like, redeclared. And then so for the Court of the Winds, so the Talon King, who's in charge, and she said, you know, it's been a very long time. They never really meet or talk, like, but they have their own domains, and, you know, whenever there is a problem, they can always come to a general agreement. Usually the Court of the Winds, they're very clear in what they want, and they just, as long as their freedom isn't impeded in any way, they're very amenable to that. So they're sort of, think of birds, they're flighty. They want their freedom, like anything that like is restrictive or like threatens them, they automatically are like, fuck this, against this, yeah, don't tell me what to do. They're like the don't tell me what to do, and then we'll get along great. Court. So the Talon King. And then the Forest Court, the Huntress is the name of the sovereign queen of that court, and they don't... It kind of reads like estranged siblings, like, in a way. Like, they've had such a long history of just, like, shittiness that doesn't really like come of anything. They just avoid each other now. It's just better if they never get together at family gatherings or whatever, because they'll try, and the Blossoms will say, I'll try, you know, to offer things and talk, and then I just get shut down, or it turns into threats or violence, whatever, and it's just better to not. They're just so aggressive and so impulsive, she'll say.
Reminds me of a Rook and Tandy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's like, they're just so young and feral.
Young.
You know. And then, yeah, we've already heard about her lover, obviously the Withered King, what she thinks about him. And I think that's all of them. Her opinions on everyone. And the Sleeping Dragon, obviously, like, wasn't considered a big deal, but all the courts respect the Sleeping Dragon, the sovereign of the Dreaming Court, because, I mean, he's just so old. It's like the oldest Fae of them all. And no one's ever met him, but, you know, ancient Grandpappy, you know, doing his own thing.
Is he almost like...
But Aoife.
Yeah, which is weird. That's why she's like, Sleeping Court? I didn't even know they were recruiting, like, anymore, you know, that kind of, like...
Is the way that they talk about the Sleeping Dragon, like, is it almost, like, more, like, power than, like... Is he almost like a god in some way because they never see him, like...
That's sort of like that. They're like, he's, like, almost a mythical figure to them, right? They don't know where he is. They don't really know what he wants. He's just sort of always been there, like a primordial, you know, titan, right? So he's like the titan to the gods, right? In Greek mythology, if you're looking at it. Like, you were the first one, and you're the only one still there, and we don't know what you are. We know you're really powerful. So nobody fucks with him, right? But, like, nobody also knows enough about him to even try, so...
Truly, like, the patriarch of an old family.
Right, yeah. So actually, kind of Aoife's presence and, like, the fact that they're getting in this game is very interesting and might make a lot of people nervous. Like, oh my god, is the Sleeping Dragon, like, getting involved? What? But it also lends a lot of credibility to what is happening here and now. Like, if even the Sleeping Dragon has come out of here and, you know, has mortals running around doing stuff for him. Something big is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the hot goss. It's the hot goss on all the other sovereigns.
I think that was pretty much all that we wrote down, at least that we wanted. Was there anything else you guys wanted to discuss and ask of her?
I think if we can leave with having that big favor named, that would probably be good.
Probably be good. Yeah, I think if Lou would say to her, I think that since we are going to be allies on this moving forward, you know, we respect the contract that we made through the Rose Dragon, but we don't wish to be surprised because in the end, that could end up being a detriment to you as well if it becomes a problem as we go through whatever this turns into. It would give us some peace of mind, and I think in the end be beneficial to you to have our favor named so that it's just out there and known.
I suppose that is fair. Then I will name my favor. That sword you carry, that vile thing, you must destroy it, and our favor will be settled. I cannot permit something like that to continue to exist. I would not wish it to be used against my enemies or my friends. It is an unnatural thing that stands against everything the Blossom Court stands for. It must be destroyed. Or we
She's
cannot
so
move further.
honorable.
Mm-hmm.
She is a chivalrous woman. Um, would you permit us? I understand if there was something like that that could harm my family in such a way, those that are close to me, I would want it gone too. And if that's your favor, that is your favor. But I would love to find out more about it, to find out who could create such a thing so that we can make sure that no more are made.
Unfortunately, I fear that must be yet another secret that Hecate has. I know no fae or mortal in this world capable of making such a thing.
We have a contact who we hope to take some of the armor that the knights were wearing to investigate it and see if they are of some similar creations that we've come across. I would love to be able to use their expertise to look at this sword as well and see if there could be any kind of connection since they both came in with the knights.
Well, I suppose. No. My favor stands as it is. I do not wish the secrets of this sword's creation to be known by any other, or could be made again. Your researcher cannot look at it. You must destroy the sword, or our favor is not settled, and I will have to collect it in another way. Blood, if I must, by our traditions and rites.
Do you feel confident that we could take on Hecate, put an end to her without it?
We must find another way. We cannot stoop to that level. Using an assassin's blade to slay another, no peace or future can be forged this way. Not one I want to be a part of, or any of my people anyway.
Well, I don't know offhand how to destroy it. That might take time to do the research to figure out what it is. If we can't have our friend look at it, then we'll have to figure out another way.
Yes, you must. But this sword should not be documented or studied, except in any other way than to learn how it must be destroyed. Can we agree upon that?
I mean, it's not like there aren't other cold iron weapons in the world, and as rare as there might be, an assassination is an assassination no matter what weapon you use. So it would have been nice to have, but it's okay to get rid of it for me.
Do you know what happens when a fae is slain by a weapon like this? Is that known to your kind?
No.
It kills us. Permanently. Our souls, if you wish to call them that, our essence, our being. When we die, typically, it is recycled back into the wilds, born again in another body. But when killed with something like that, the death is permanent. That energy is lost. All fae suffer, as one more is gone from the world forever. Our realm shrinks. Our way of life dies with every death committed by something like this. So when you cast one of us down with one of these weapons, it is not just that fae. You are harming. It is all of us. All our kind suffers in such a death.
I had heard that when you kill a fae in the mortal realm, since they are far away from the magics of the fae, that they cannot be reborn. But that a sort of reincarnation is possible within the Feywilds. Is that true?
It is. But a cold iron weapon, if you slay it here, even in the borders of the wilds, wherever you may be, it acts very much the same. That energy is lost. And not only is the energy of the life lost, but it is a direct fracturing on this place, this world, this plane. You destroy a life and break a little of this whole place. It is devastating that someone would think to use this against me here. Because as I said before, as a sovereign, I am not one fae. I am all my kind. If I had been struck down with that sword, all my people would have been slain.
Ooh. All of us get oh shit looks
Wait,
on our
really?
faces.
Wait, really?
Girl, hold on. Bring it back.
Hold on, for real?
Holy shit.
And she looks at you with just the placid, like, you know, nature eternal. Why do you think I've been so interested in talking to you thus far? There's a lot more at stake here than I think even you realize. But it is never good to act hastily or rashly until all the facts are known. But I certainly do not like the facts I see.
I'm curious what your perspective is. Because at the southern border of our kingdom, recently there's been a huge amount of fae pouring from the wilds, trying to enter into the mortal realm. If they die forever when they are slain in mortal land, why are they trying so desperately to enter then?
Something must be driving them out of the wilds, is the only answer I can give. Fae who are not aligned with one of the courts are not protected within our domains or our demesnes. They are subject to all the chaos that might ensue in the unclaimed parts of the wilds. And as mortal kind has grown, our world has come under threat. The wilds are shrinking. You mortals multiply at incredible rates, and it seems your souls are just born anew, while ours decimate. Ours are lost. Ours are finite. It is one of the reasons we fear you so.
I think that at this point, Lou looks over Ravane just to kind of like see where
Yeah,
he's at.
like,
He's been so quiet this whole
Get a
time.
temperature
And like,
check.
yeah,
this is crazy. I mean, like, Lou has a fucking cold iron dagger.
Yeah.
And like at this point, to me, I'm like, okay, well, that's just the beginning of genocide to a people.
yeah. I think, you know, a lot of this too is, I think it's clear that this is weighing on him a lot. You can almost see him counting, you know, the fae he's killed in his time, the fae his people have killed. This is a whole new level of understanding. It is horrible to hear. You know, and he's chiming in where appropriate and stuff, but,
Yeah.
you know, as the can lead the PCs here, the NPCs just aren't as talking as much. But he's right there with you, with every shocking thing the Sovereign has said.
Well, I'm happy to be here with you because I think that this sort of conversation and connection has been long overdue. I only wish that it hadn't taken a common enemy for it to happen.
Indeed. Well, I asked you at the beginning of this whether you were a typical example of your kind or extraordinary, and I think, despite your answer, you must be extraordinary indeed to have reached me here, to have come as far as you have. We all have existed in this world together for millennia, and you are the first to come and even start this conversation. I feel I have learned a great deal today, and I hope all of you feel the same as well.
I'm grateful.
As to the rest of our business, I think at this time I am unwilling to formally declare war against any of the other sovereign courts. But I am willing to say that we are aligned with you and your sovereign, the tsarina. And should you approach other courts, and if you convince at least 2 more of them into this formal alliance, then the Blossom Court will be willing to go to war. Should it come to that, and I sincerely hope it does not.
As do we.
Indeed. We are still very much in the reconnaissance phase.
That's my jam.
And our favor, we are agreed, you will destroy that sword.
There will be no research done that isn't about destroying the sword.
Then while the favor is still owed, it is so named. Well. And you, she'll look at Ravain, and you will be my emissary then to this tsarina. And he's like, yes, like formally, I speak for the tsarina in this matter. I am her physical representative. Anything you need, you may call me back here or whatever. Like, he will be the guy she's making the formal contract with, essentially.
Captain Savage, he's our hero.
Well then. A lot has been done here today. Is there anything else you would ask of me?
Is there some way that we can have something? I know that where we come from, we have things like sending stones where we can get in contact without needing to go through so many channels. I feel really emboldened by how level-headed of a ruler you are. I would like to be able to have a line directly to you in case anything goes wrong. I want you to know and to be able to engage and protect your people as soon as possible.
Well, that would be very easy if one of you were to become a vassal of mine. she sort of...
You!
And with the Enigma Codex logging every written word across the known universe, the known and unknown universe, written language should be avoided whenever possible.
All right. I suppose that would be amenable. If you speak to any of the plants in your mortal realm, they can speak directly to me. Wherever green exists, wherever growing things sprout. I will hear.
Done. Got
So,
it.
yeah,
I've got
Tony,
you.
whenever you cast Speak with Plants now, you can directly call the Sovereign. So, and she'll like touch you with that. What kind of little mark or cool little thing do you want? Like the little token, your little token. Do you want like a cool tattoo or a little like, a living flower that's always on your person? Or like what?
I think some like a little wreath tattoo appears around her collarbone here.
Yeah, like a little braided, ring strewn with like tiny flowers. Nice.
And can I just say, female to female, you stunning, just gorgeous.
If there is
10 out of 10.
If there is one thing a blossom adores, it is being admired.
Oh.
It has been a
Lou
profound
just takes like
pleasure.
a long stare.
Yeah. Don't worry, with this level of charisma, you'll never forget it. Deep in your
Just
mind.
imprinted in my brain.
All right. So, out of character, do we feel like we've accomplished everything we wanted to?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well then, it has been a pleasure, and I look forward to speaking with you more in the days to come. But I'll admit, having mortals here, your chaos makes things a little difficult.
But exciting?
Exciting is one word for it. Certainly exciting. But I think it is time for you to go. I can
That's fair.
transport you anywhere within the wilds, assuming it is not within the realm of another. Where would you like to go?
Do we want to go back to Goopy?
Back to the...
Poor guy. He's
I
been
think
just
we miss
hanging
our-
out.
We miss our house.
We want to go home. We click our heels.
Yeah. I click my heels. Yeah, so you can click your heels. Done. Farewell, mortals. Until
Thank
we
you, I
meet
love you.
again. Yeah. There's just the sound, that warm breeze that passes over you again, and the world turns to golden sunlight. And you're gone. You're back, standing in front of Koopy, who stands up, and like you can hear the cracking in his like legs as he kind of stretches. His little like wing houses on either side sort of like furl up, almost like balcony like ridge edges on the house. Some dust falls off, very dramatic, as he's so happy to see you all again.
Lou immediately is like, I gotta write Cassie about this woman.
Yeah, like holy shit. So Koopy, yay, he's back. He's so happy. You want to pile in?
Mm-hmm.
Super cool house. Yeah.
So relieved. It's like getting home from like a really stressful
Really
vacation.
long,
You're like,
like
"Oh, my
vacation. Yeah,
things."
right. Yeah. My things, my
The belts come off, the swords come off,
Yeah.
everything. The hair is down.
The bra was already off.
Oh yeah, those sweatpants
Like,
going on. Oh my god, it's been so long. And you get in. You're like, oh my stuff. You start, doing your thing, whatever. And that's when, all of a sudden you hear like, it's almost like the sound of like bullets or something as hundreds of letters start like sliding underneath your door, like this huge backlog of mail coming in that perhaps during your last trial here wasn't getting to you somehow as you were locked into this, whatever the magic of the place wasn't delivering. You see tons of messages already addressed to all of you. Looks from like Cassie, from the family, like all the different, Frida members, like urgent sort of like, hey, like please respond sort of mail just keeps shooting in. You've got quite a backlog now, just scattered all over your living room.
Hundreds, you said?
Probably about 100.
Okay. The admin work alone. you
Just
know?
the opening these.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Lou just starts gathering them
Yeah,
all
like-
into a pile and like starts like, oh my God, like sorting them, handing them to people.
Yeah. So a couple things you learn quickly as you start kind of opening these. Looking at the dates and stuff on some of these or whatever, it's clear that you all have been probably gone from the mortal realm a little bit longer than you anticipated you were. Like, some of this mail is going back weeks at this point.
Yikes.
And it seems to be mostly urgent things like where are you, get in contact, please contact me as soon as you can, like some things here are bad, like we need attention. And you're like going through the backlog and very quickly you finally get to like some letters here. Cassie, you find one eventually that looks like the most recent. It said from Cassie saying, meet me in Coven at the Witch's Brew as soon as you can.
She's in Coven?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
shit.
that's already like, what?
Things got weird.
Yeah. You didn't know that Cassie even... I mean, she's heard you talk about Coven, but...
We didn't tell her about that cat.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Is there anything else that like gives us like obviously Cassie is very important to Lou, but is there anything that's like whole like Tsarina or anything, that's calling us back to a different location, or does everything point to Coven at this point?
At this point, so before it was mostly like, like letters like, hey, get in contact, like we need to speak, like urgently, things like, what are we going to do? Like, have you seen the, what? It's all vague enough, but you have also told Cassie and Frida about the Enigma Codex, and that might be why they're not saying anything in these letters about specifically what is happening. So the non-specificity is actually quite frightening if they do indeed have something that important that they didn't want to write down or track.
Okay, y'all want to go to Coven?
I suppose.
I guess I'm putting my fucking bra back on.
Yeah. And Ravain's like, what is Coven? I don't know. Wait,
Oh, it's great. When we give him like the rundown.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. On board. He's like, just tell me where to go. I owe you my life, and yes, I will follow you anywhere. Right. So we're putting our bras back on, getting our stupid jeans back on. Oh, the minute we thought we were fine. Good news is you probably have like at least a few hours. So if you want to like chill,
Bath time.
yeah, just take a bath.
Nothing rejuvenates like a bath.
Real
No,
quick.
for real.
Are we making like a bathhouse room, or are we all going to our
Oh,
own baths?
yes.
There's one
you
room that is
should.
just a huge bathroom. It's like the size of the
Beautiful.
bathtub in Harry Potter where he goes in and there's that
Oh, it's like the
tower of
pool with
soaps.
all the towers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Roman baths for lounging in.
so good.
It's just like, you coming, Ravine?
You have
You
a
wear
what?
a towel. Don't be weird.
No, of course, that's fine. I think he's just like, you have a bathhouse in your house. He's still, learning, getting up to speed on how magical you all are. Yeah, so chiseled, very nice to look at during your bath. For those of you, into that
Of the persuasion.
of the persuasion. But yeah, so you can, spend the 3-4 hours getting comfy as much as you can, trying to feel, mortal again after all of that. But with this sense of dread, something clearly has happened, something big.
Suddenly we have a phobia of the shape hexagon.
6 sides? No! Oh my god. I hate them. I never want to crawl again. Yeah, so time passes. Anything quick or anything you want to make sure to do before, like, while we're on our way to Coven,
I think just get a good meal in everyone. we can use Lou's chef background, get some, who knows what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
So we'll do a D10 of,
Who knows?
we got 5 hit point maximum increases by 5 and the same number of hit points for the next 24 hours.
Nice. Nice.
Twice.
Say that again?
Your hit point maximum increases by 5. So like mine's 50. So now my total hit points will be 55 until
Got it.
24 hours.
I was too busy thinking about what my dream meal would be in that moment.
Tell me about it. Lou will make this for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just what I'm craving right now, but just thinking about me in a bath and what I would want, I kind of want candied bacon. Like, you know, the millionaire bacon? I want the millionaire candied bacon with like an heirloom tomato burrata, arugula salad.
That's
Damn, that sounds
bougie.
fucking
That sounds
businessy.
good. Damn. Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm gonna have dinner.
It's yours. Lou's on it.
Whoa. Excellent. So we feast and we bathe, and that seems pretty good. Pretty good. Can't end an arc without being freshly laundered and fed. So so you do that. You make the best of your like 4 hours or so before there's that feeling as Koopy like and like that sure sign of like we have stopped. And deposits you outside of one of the entrances to Coven that you have gotten used to. And all of you good to race out and go. Question, do you want to leave Ravain here in the house or expose him to all that Coven is?
I mean, I feel like he's got to learn about it if he's going to be an emissary. True. I think it would be good for him to see what is honestly quite a normal...
Yeah, the normalest place in all the wilds.
Yeah.
Because if this does happen and they do end up having this connection, this is going to be like the bridge.
The spot, yeah. This place is certainly, it already exists kind of as the bridge between worlds, and it's going to be a lot more official, maybe in the days to come. Yeah,
and
so
those hags are going to be rolling.
Oh, man.
And then Aoife will untransform because the rule about no fey courts is vague still, and she's worried about it. Yeah,
that's fair and good. A good instinct, I think. So you go back to your normal form, and all the ughness of that. But you're fine. You had millionaire bacon, whatever that is, so that's making you feel better. Oh no, you're vegetarian. We established like 50 episodes.
We eat around it.
You still enjoyed the fuck out of that heirloom tomato salad.
Still a bomb-ass salad.
That salad. Oh,
God, I love a good salad. A
so
summer
good.
Tomato. Ooh.
And I'm sure Lou can make some magic, faking bacon, I'm sure. But anyway.
Bacon.
Faking bacon. Yeah.
I'm sorry, please get to your world-shattering thing.
Yeah, no, episode called Fakin' Bacon. That's all that's important. So you all exit, Cooper, and basically you're trying to keep Ravain's focus on you as all the amazing things in Coven, breeze by all the people and the sights. But no time. You've got to get to the Witch's Brew. You've got to get back. And it's been so long and it's so nice to come back through these familiar streets. But all of you notice that there is certainly quite a bit of tension in the streets already. People don't seem as open or as friendly as there were, and there are actually a lot more of them. You're seeing, like, I don't know, it's like people sitting on the streets, like the homeless population maybe has even increased in Coven. There are just like a lot more people, and people seem pushy and unwilling to meet your gaze, and the mood here has changed significantly, and it's hard to say why, but as you're racing through the streets to get to the Witch's Brew, no time to consider. And as you push in through the doors, you see that familiar, the all wooden like tap room that has grown out of this tree, and there are people crammed at every table, just almost spilling out of the place, like people who look tired and hungry and furious, and there are pixies whizzing through the air, like trying to meet the order here. The pace of this place has increased a lot. It doesn't feel at all like the way it did before. And as you step in the door, there's a and like this like elf woman from behind the bar drops like a mug of something. She's like, "You, oh my god, you're the Tandy!" And she like yells off, and out of some back room, Tandy, still at her normal like slow pace, was like, "Oh, you guys, you're back! Wow, it's really you. You need to come upstairs like right now. Just so important that you get upstairs because, you know, girl," and she points at you, Lou, "you're lady upstairs, but like seriously, this is really important. If you could."
Okay, we're going.
Come upstairs. Nassim, is Tony just wearing these freaking like John Lennon glasses? Is that what's happening right now? Or...
No, I'm wearing them because I'm scared of what's happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Tammy's like, "Oh yeah, come on," and like leads you upstairs at a pace that is so slow for no reason, and leads you up to one of the rooms. And as you push open the door, you see Cassie there. So weird to see her in this environment, right? But she immediately, looks up from like a stack of papers that she has all over her desk, and stands up and's like, "Lou," and just like throws herself at you and like wraps her arms around you so tight and is like, "Where have you been? I've been trying to get in contact with you. All of you. Are you okay?" And she like moves your face back and, "Are you fine?"
Yeah, and Lou just like hugs her tightly, wraps her arms around her, and gives her a quick kiss. She's like, time is soup sometimes in the Feywild, and it really didn't seem that long. How long were we gone?"
Well, I guess it's been weeks at this point, but
Why are you here? Not that I'm not excited to see you.
right, yeah, that and she looks over your shoulder, by the way, too, and like sees Ravane and sort of like is taken aback for a moment. So you have no idea what's going on in the Empire right now, I'm assuming?
No.
Okay, before anything happens, I think you should watch this. And she slides over sort of like a metal disc, like with arcane sigils on it. And it will, if you tap it, basically it's like a little hologram, like Star Wars, imagine, like makes a projection, minor illusion to talk to you all. You want to click it?
Oh yeah, click.
So you see, like flaring up, the little magic illusion creates like probably, a 2-foot tall version of someone that you have seen before, not directly, but certainly, as citizens of the Empire. You're familiar with its dukes, its duchesses, and the face of Melwyn Tavir appears before you all, like standing sort of at like almost a campaign style banister, like somewhere you would to speak to, of course, an audience. And she is saying a speech. Here we go. "Citizens of the glorious Eldrin Empire, it is with a heavy heart that I stand before you today to announce the gravest of news. After thorough investigation and inquiry, the Royal Alliance of the Dukes and Duchesses of the Empire have found Tsarina Sariel II guilty of treason. With the help of the traitorous Corellan Order, Sariel conspired to sacrifice the safety of her people by forging an alliance with the Fey creatures who have long hunted and slaughtered mortal kind. As of this moment, Sariel is stripped of her crown, royal authority, and rights to the privileges and protections granted by our glorious society. By order of the royal duchies, until the new tsarina is crowned, myself, along with your beloved Tsar, who had no hand in Sariel's treachery, hold executive leadership of our great nation. I swear to you that I will not rest until Sariel and every remaining Karelin within the Empire is brought to justice and made to pay for their crimes against you, the beloved chosen of the mother and father. And make no mistake, any found to be assisting these fugitives will similarly meet with the swift justice of the Empire. May the mother and father watch over us all. And
Fuck
she,
you.
yeah, and she, like, the illusion goes away, and there's, like, a silent moment. So, yeah, things have changed a bit since you've been gone. It's bad out there, Lou. It's basically civil war. The Empire is tearing itself apart.
You're muted.
Does anyone know where the tsarina is? What? I mean, did she get like she looks at Ravain because she knows?
Oh yeah, because Ravain is like heart dropped out of stomach. Well, that's sort of one of the reasons we're here, and if you could just come next door with me just for a second, and she like sort of looks over her shoulder and around quickly. She's like gonna usher you to like the connecting room to like next door. She unlocks it and steps in, and you see in this room two people. One is a Dwarven woman with like red hair and a very cool helmet and a fierce red beard. Someone who looks like a real badass, maybe a paladin or something, some kind, with a sort of a Furies vibe, if we had to say. Kara, for anyone familiar with the Legacy games, or that, who is standing over a very pale and scared looking Sariel, sitting there dressed down in like normal people's clothes, which is so wild considering how you've normally seen her, but she's just sitting there in the room. I'm glad to see you all are safe, she says, as this, and the dwarf like crosses her arms here. We have a lot to discuss. And that's where we're gonna end the episode and the season. Summer is over, bitches. Oh no!
Good lord! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I don't want peace. I want problems. Always.
Yes.
Oh my god!
So the tsarina is alive and well.
Okay, so now
But
tsarina and Ravain are going to take back the kingdom and rule together like they always
oh
should
my
have,
god, they can
because they're
actually
not-
hook up now. There's no reason they can't. Oh my god. But yeah. So
Holy smokes.
This is
Yep.
hellish, but also my dreams are coming true. So there we have it.
yep. So that's it. That's summer, you guys. You did it. Now we go into
Yay. What a summer. What a summer.
just like the end of summer when you start school again. Oh, so fun and games. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh no, business.
Wake me up when September ends.
Oh my god. But yes, so not only have we've come to the end of an arc, big things have happened, a lot of questions remain to be answered, but you also all level up! Yay! We all gain a level! Whee! You're so powerful, you've earned the hell out of it, Booze. So you're going to level 10? Is that what it is?
9.
9? Shit. Yeah,
I
grow
have
that
a choice
power.
to make. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, but obviously that all happened in good time. But there you go. Good job, you guys. You made it another season.
Holy shit, man.
Yay. Wow.
So the good news is that alliance you just brokered still good. The tsarina's still around, but you may now have a mortal empire to, figure
There's
out.
so much. Oh my god, we gotta deal with these fucking Corellans. I
Yes.
still firmly believe that Melwyn has just got like this deal with Hecate and just is a fucking dumbass and thinks that she's in control. That's still my fan theory.
I am there with you.
It certainly would be a good thing for the Fae if the Corellans were, systematically destroyed and not around to fight any more Fae.
Bring back Saye. She should not be in a jello mold.
She's dying in a jello mold, as we've learned from our legacy episode. But yeah.
Oh Lord. Good job, Celeste.
Hell yeah.
In the name of the moon, I will punish you.
But yeah. We did it. We did it, gang.
Wow.
Obviously, yeah, a lot to process, but we're going to leave it there. So thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. What a ride. What a ride summer has been. Hags, turning it on its head. It's all good. In Coven, it all comes back
It's
together.
been a long summer, so it had to come to an end.
It did. So yeah, that's it. That's it, everybody. Before we go, I would like to say, hey, if you are one of the people who didn't back the Venture Maidens Kickstarter when it happened a few years back, and you're like, man, I wish I had a hardcover book, let us know. Join our Discord. We are currently collecting names and info for folks who want to buy a book, because finally, after this time, I am going to have a bunch shipped to my house, and then we can send them out finally. So all the overstock we have,
The struggle.
we do. We have a couple hundred copies right now of overstock that we need to sell through before we just post generally, on the website and sell those. So we are making a list right now. If you want a copy or multiple copies, let us know. Get in touch, and we will make sure that you are high priority to get your copy as soon as we have them in hand. So go do that. And thank you, Sage, so much for setting up that info. And yeah. And again, in general, the Discord is the best place if you want to stay, attuned to the news, what's happening, episode announcements and stuff. Pretty much we all go through Discord now, because as social media wars have begun and nobody knows what is on top, Twitter, X, Blue Sky, whatever. We're all just here for the ride. So until then, join the Discord. It's also super cute. We have a lot of awesome people, lots of cute pet photos. It's a good time. So join us. You can find those links to join on our website, in the chat, basically everywhere. Just type in Venture Maidens on Google and you'll find so many ways. So many ways. Yeah. Other than that, we always like to take some time to say a huge thank you to our Patreon donors. Patreon is a website where you can donate monthly to support the creators you love. Send some dollars to appreciate all this free content we make for you. And we always say thank you to our 2 highest donor tiers, because you guys are the light of our lives. You're the whole reason we're here and can keep doing this, and you're amazing. So I want to start things off by saying thank you to Muffin at the one on Drury Lane on X/Twitter.
Thank you so much, Nissa McKinnon.
Thank you, Richie113 on our Discord.
And thank you to Tony.
Thank you so much, Chris.
And from Fair's Drinking Mates tier, thank you, Brittany.
Our darling Fable, thank you.
And thank you to one of our wonderful mods, Markali.
Oh, and thank you so much to Noon from our Discord server. Also a wonderful poet. Thank you, Noon.
So good. So good.
I just read your book of poems recently and was so touched, and it was great. So thank you.
Who's next?
Who's next? Wait,
We got off track. We're talking about poetry.
Rim?
Isn't it you? Katie?
Yeah, it's you, Katie, with
Oh,
Rim.
Oh, oh.
can't be me. I've never messed up in my life.
Me? Who's that? No.
Thank you, Mrim.
Alan, aka Obsidian Cyrix. Thank you.
And thank you to Steven.
Oh, and I get to say the last one, Cinnamon Toast Punch. Thank you. New drinking mate. Awesome username. Love it. Thank you, guys. You guys are amazing. Oh, yes. Shit. I can't wait to see what happens in fall. You know, the fall of an empire, the fall of the Maidens. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. But until then, everybody. What would happen? I have been your game master, Celeste Konowich.
Hello, I'm Katie, and I played your Drow Wizard, Laveri Staff.
Hello and good night. I'm Nassim. I've been your half-orc fighter and druid, Tony Silvertail.
And I'm Sage, and I have been your satyr bard, Aoife Flannery, and maybe a red-haired barbarian in the future.
Oh, I know.
Past?
We'll have to see who
From
is
the
playing Kara next time. We'll have to work it out. I don't know what will happen. We'll see. But until then, everybody, venture away!